हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् यस्याजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं चर्षणीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यं ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं तदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवीव चक्षुराततम्। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं महालक्ष्म्यै नमः। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। Can everybody say after me, Hare Ramakrishna 3 times? Om Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna, Hare Ramakrishna. Welcome back. Now, before I start, the first thing is homework. You have been given a lot of weeks of extension. So now, of course, the new people will be excluded from the homework. But all the old people, you can't escape anymore. So, how many of you have attempted to do the homework? The one about the mundane chart, I told you to compare 1900 New Year chart, Lunar New Year chart of USA and 2005 and see if there were any links, because there was a big similarity between the 2 years in terms of destruction and death. How many of you tried it? It is combined homework. That's acceptable. As long as you don't say all of us together did combined homework. Just 2 people combined homework is fine. Okay, what I want you to do is, then I will pull up the 2 charts and then I want you to guide the discussion. Whatever you saw in the charts, you can tell me. What I will do is, let me close this and reopen twice so that font settings are safe. So let us make Washington DC this year chart first. Washington DC. Let's go to the mundane tab and find the previous Lunar New Year. So it was the current New Year that is running. It has started on April 8, 2005 at 3:36 p.m. in the middle of an eclipse at Washington DC. So this is the New Year chart for Washington DC for this year. And now let's do the same thing for 1900. For the year 1900, let's just keep November 6 is fine, because the New Year, Lunar New Year, is in the March-April time frame. So as long as you have a date after that and you said find the previous Lunar New Year, you find the right thing. So November 6, 1900, let us say, the actual hurricane that destroyed Galveston was probably September time frame. I don't know the exact month, August, September. 8 September, okay, around the same time frame. But we'll be looking at the chart that started in April. The New Year, the Lunar New Year that was running at that time started in March or April. We'll find the date now. So let's again change the place to Washington DC, the capital of the country, because when you make the Lunar New Year chart or Solar New Year chart, you make it for the capital of the country. You see important events in the country during that year. So go to the mundane tab again, click on this Lunar New Year chart. It shows previous, not next. So it finds the previous Lunar New Year, the previous time a Lunar New Year started. So it was on March 30, 1900. So the New Year, the Lunar Year that was running at the time of that hurricane which destroyed Galveston in 1900, that started on March 30, 1900. Again around 3:30 p.m. Of course that doesn't mean much. Now let's compare the 2 charts. So who said they did the homework? Okay. Your turn. So what is, you posted? Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't read. I didn't read. You did a good job. You did a good job, then you don't Somebody who did a flat job.
I didn't do it, so I can only do it.
Okay, Sriram sir. I was actually talking to him yesterday. Do you see any links between these two charts?
Yes. So many things. Everything to me.
Yeah, everything, not everything, but lot of things.
Lagna is the same, both cases.
Yeah. Both cases, Lagna is the same Leo. But don't expect that there will be a big hurricane when Leo rises. Maybe that's true, but maybe that's not. But at least in these two cases, Leo is the rising sign in both the charts. And what else?
And Lagna Lord is in the 8th house.
Lagna Lord is in the 8th house. Pardon me? Right. If 8th house is dominating, what would you expect? Sudden things, unexpected things. It can be positive or negative. It can be like you suddenly inherit $1 million. You had an uncle you never knew about. He loves you. You never knew it. He died, and his will said you are going to get all his assets. So that is also 8th house. Any sudden gain. But at the same time, 8th house also shows sudden loss. Very good point. Very good point. Excellent. Yeah. So his point is, he's talking about the Hora Lord. If you remember, when we make not the lunar new year chart for the countries, but for individuals, when we make the new lunar year, which is based on your birthday. If you are born on a particular tithi, when the tithi returns, we make a chart. We call it Tithi Pravesh, right? So in the Tithi Pravesh chart, we find the ruler of the year by looking at the Hora Lord. So his point is, Prasad's point is, do you do the same thing in these charts? Let me answer that. The way people find the king of the year, the ruler of the year is different than lunar new year charts. But I am not fully sure that is correct. Let me explain what I mean. When people make a chart for the lunar new year, they make for the time when Chaitra Shukla Pratipada starts. So the first tithi, the first lunar day of the Chaitra month, it starts, let's say in this case, on March 30 afternoon. So they make a chart for that time. But to find the ruler of the day, the practice that is there in tradition is, they go to the next sunrise. The next day sunrise, and then whatever is the weekday running then, they take that weekday Lord as the ruler of the day. So here let us see. What is the weekday here? It was a Friday. So next day is a Saturday. So they say that Saturn will be the ruler of the year. He controls what happens in the year. But I am not fully sure that that's correct. My strong hunch is that practice that is prevalent in tradition is wrong. What is the importance of the weekday Lord of the next day? The reason is, for civil purposes, when you celebrate the new year, even though it started at 3:30 today, on this Friday, for civil purposes, they start at sunrise. Sunrise to sunrise is one day. So for civil purposes, for the purpose of celebrating the New Year festival, by having parties, by having functions, etc., it makes sense not to do it on that day, because here is 3:30, at least you can get together in the evening. Of course, in old days, they never celebrated in the afternoon. They celebrated everything in the morning. Or they didn't celebrate things in the night. So basically morning was an important time. So they basically rounded to the next morning. So this was mainly for the purpose of celebration, so that you can celebrate the new year on the next morning. So, and the thing is, the importance of the weekday Lord of the next day is nothing but, weekday Lord is nothing but the Hora Lord when the day starts. At the time of sunrise, the first Hora always belongs to the weekday Lord, the first hour, planetary hour. So that definition that is prevalent in tradition for finding the ruler of the year, for the lunar year, seems to be based on taking the civil definition rather than astrological definition of the new year, which is not 3:30 today, this afternoon, when actually the Chaitra Shukla Pratipada started. But go to the next sunrise, and you seem to be taking that as the start of the year, because that's the start of the celebration, and they are taking that Hora Lord to be the ruler of the year. The fact is, when you find in Shadbalas, when you find the strength of a day or strength of a month or strength of a year, it is always based on the Hora at which it starts. Always the Hora is the important thing. Whichever time period you are talking about, day or month or year, the first Hora controls the quality. And we know from experience that in the same tradition, for the Tithi Pravesha charts, which are personalized New Year charts, known as New Year charts. In those charts, we do place a lot of importance on the Hora Lord, because Hora is the main governor of the quality of time, whichever time is starting then, whether it's a year or a month. So it makes sense to think that the original practice was to take the Hora Lord, but at the exact time, the astrological time when the New Year started. But later, for the purposes of civil celebration of the New Year, probably people changed it to the next sunrise so that you can celebrate the festival next morning. And then they started taking the Hora Lord at that time. So even though in this particular chart, in this particular New Year chart, people will take today if you go to any astrologers who give Ugadi readings, the New Year readings on that particular day on TV or radio or in public functions, they take Saturn to be the ruler of the year. It is my strong feeling that that's basically a corruption that came in the last few hundreds or thousands of years. So it is my feeling that whatever you said, taking the Hora Lord at the time, because next sunrise has no meaning to us. It's only for celebration. The year starts at 3:30 p.m. on that day. That is when we make the chart, and that is the chart we use to predict how the next year is going to be for the country. So yes, the answer to after a long explanation, the short answer to your question is yes. The Hora Lord, at the time the New Year starts, is very important, and I take that planet to be the ruler of the year instead of the next day people do. So, any question?
I took the ascendant both of Washington D.C. and then I went to New Orleans.
Okay, you can do that.
The ascendant was the same.
Okay.
Why is the ascendant the same?
It could be the same. There are some lines that you can draw physically which will have the same ascendant. If you take the same longitude and if you vary the latitude, the ascendant at the same time will be different. Similarly, if you take the same latitude and vary the longitude, again the ascendant will vary. But there will be a line, there will be a cross line on which the rising degree will be the same. So New Orleans and Washington D.C. may fall very close to a particular line like that. It is quite possible. And these are usually cross lines. These are not horizontal or vertical lines. I mean longitude or latitude lines.
I did some research on why this may have occurred in New Orleans. I tried to get the date of New Orleans founding.
Yeah.
And I found one date from 1718 that was very valid.
Yeah.
And I also did the date of the Louisiana purchase. 1803.
Can you give the New Orleans incorporation date? Because that will be useful.
August 25th, 1718.
1 second, August 25th,
1718.
18.
At 5:46 a.m.
5:46 a.m. Yeah. New Orleans.
And then the date of the Louisiana purchase.
Oh, 1 second. Let me just save this guy.
That's the days of research to find that date. How did you find it out? I just kept doing research. The date of the Louisiana purchase was April 30th, 1803.
April?
30th, 1803. And I took the day of sunrise that day. It was 5:22 a.m.
Okay. What was the capital at that time when they bought?
The Louisiana purchase?
Yeah.
I think it was New Orleans. New Orleans is the main center of it.
Okay.
Then what I did is I used an Arabic progression. I progressed 30 degrees to the year. It's called a profection. And I took from both the Louisiana purchase date and also the 1718 date. I perfected the ascendant. And I came up. I also did a bunch of hurricanes. I did about 7 or 8 hurricanes. The major ones that hit New Orleans. The big one that hit New Orleans, the one that hit New Orleans that caused the most devastation was Hurricane Audrey in 1957. I had that year. And then the other one was the 2005 one. And interestingly enough, both 1957 and 2005 both are 11 signs perfected after the ascendant. Okay, and both of those are ruled by the moon. And I don't know what that means, but the moon's the moon means rain, okay, usually, anyway. So anyway, both of those signs rule the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Then there were several other hurricanes I took. There was a 1965 hurricane that was pretty devastating, didn't do that much damage to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
That was seven signs after the ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 1900 one was the 8 signs after the ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
That was for 1718 ascendant. And then I took the 1803 and both the 1957 and the 2005 both were 10 after the ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a bad hurricane. Oh, there was another bad hurricane in 1915 in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And that affected four after the ascendant.
4 houses.
4 houses. And I noticed that the ruler of each one of these houses seemed to be associated with each one of the natal horoscopes in a way with the ruler was potentially in the lunar luminary chart significantly resulting in the planets being in Pisces.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Good research. What I want you to do is, did everybody get the data? Yeah, I will just repeat the data for those who are listening to the audio on the internet. The New Orleans data that Ted found after thorough research is August 25, 1718, 1718, 5:46 a.m. Was it actually local mean time? Probably there was no time zone then.
I don't.
Probably, I would think there is no time zone, so it's probably local mean time. It makes no difference. It's 16 seconds difference, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so the time is 5:46 a.m. and the place is New Orleans, Louisiana. That's when the town of New Orleans was incorporated. So you can use this chart to see what happens to the town of New Orleans. So what I want you to do is use this chart and use the techniques that we know, which are Pravesha. I don't want you to use Dashas because, like I keep saying, you don't know what is the expected longevity of a town. For human beings, we take 120 years, and then we have this sequence of Dashas, and we divide 120 years into various phases. And for countries, for all you know, it may not be 120 years, it may be something else. So I don't want you to use Dashas because that's based on assumptions that could be flawed. So instead use Pravesha, the lunar return every year. So look at the chart that was active at the time of this hurricane, and if you can look at some previous hurricanes that devastated New Orleans, see if there are any links.
You want me to give you the dates?
Yes, if you have, please.
Yeah, I have it. I have all the dates of all the important New Orleans hurricanes.
Yeah, just give 3, so because they can't study more than that. Just 3 important ones.
Hurricane Audrey was the most fatalities took the scenery in New Orleans.
Okay.
And that was in 1957.
Well, what time? 1957. Which month? Which day? You know?
I don't know.
Okay. You can just search for Hurricane Audrey. You will find it.
Hurricane Audrey.
Hurricane Audrey, 1967. Do a search in Google. You will find it. This is not an advertisement for Google.
then it was Hurricane Betsy in 1965.
Hurricane Betsy. Okay.
And that was 1965.
1965.
And then.
Okay, we'll just take Katrina after that.
And then it was a bad one in 1915.
Okay. 1915. What is his name?
There was no name.
No name. Probably they didn't start this. No name. Actually, in Vedic Astrology, our group has a person called No Name, No Name. His first name and last name are No Name. This reminds me of it. Yeah.
Now, would this same approach work? Today there was a bad tornado in Indiana. Would this same approach work? For instance, there was a year that I took down the notes. It had 200 and something tornadoes in 14 states, and it killed many people. There was a tornado that went right through Oklahoma City Again, those notes are at home.
If you can find the year,
Right, I can find
see,
both.
if there were a lot of tornadoes in a year, if you find the lunar New Year chart of that year,
Right.
year for Washington DC, you should be able to find
Okay.
like here, we'll actually go through the exercise, but the 8th house is dominant, and the planets are, the sign and the planets are watery. Whereas there you would expect predominance of, if it's a tornado, you would expect predominance of airy planets, waves, etc. We can win. So you can, if you get some data, we can study that. But if you are just talking about one tornado, so just hit one town. If you look at the US for the whole year, it may not be an important event. So with what we do, the normal data and the chart, it may not really show up. But if you have the incorporation data of that town that was devastated by that tornado, you know when that town was incorporated. So you make a chart for that town. This is a huge event for the town. So it will clearly be visible. But if you see the entire US, you want to see a tornado that hit a particular town, it may or may not be visible. But if a particular month was very bad, lot of tornadoes during that month, that should clearly be visible in the DC.
This was the most powerful tornado that the wind was ever recorded. 318 miles, and it went over 50 miles in distance.
Still, I'm not sure if I'll be able to see it because it may be a big tornado. But as far as the country is concerned, if the devastation by it is not really huge. For example, Katrina. When Katrina happened, it took the attention of the whole nation for a while. So if you look at the nation's chart for this year, it will definitely be visible there. But if you are talking about a tornado, even if it's a record-setting tornado, if nobody really bothered about it, it's not a huge event for the collective consciousness of the nation. It may or may not be visible there. But if you look at the town itself, it's a big event for the collective consciousness of that particular town. So there it will be very clearly visible. So if you can get the data, we can look at it. And you said there was a year when there were a lot of tornadoes. So we will do that. But let's go back to the exercise. To your finding the, see, when you know that there is going to be some water-related problem, or fire-related problem, or some kind of terrorist-related problem, or some kind of a problem in a country during a particular month or two, once you find it, to know exactly which area will be hit by it is very difficult. Just based on the country's chart, to pinpoint the area of the country is very difficult. So let's not even try that. But what we will do is, we will just see the link between the two charts to see if there were any similarities. So let's go back to the exercise. So the similarities so far are, look at this chart. You see here, 1900 March 30 chart, when the new year started. And this is 2005 April 8 chart. So let's look at both. Both have Leo rising. What is the other similarity? Both have a big planetary conglomeration in the 8th house. 8th house of troubles, 8th house of unexpected problems, 8th house of tension and anxiety. So you have lot of planets in the 8th house, and that too, you have Sun, the Lagna Lord, in the 8th house, and also Moon. Moon being in 8th house is bad. For all planets, 8th house is a bad house, but particularly for Moon, 8th house is a bad house. We talked about Maranakaraka sthanas earlier. For every planet, there is one house where the planet feels very impotent, very unhappy. The planet doesn't like being in that house at all. For Sun, what is the Maranakaraka sthana? 12th house. Sun is the king, and 12th house is the house of giving up your ego, moksha. You tell the king, you tell the soul, you don't mean anything, just give up. Then he obviously feels unhappy. Moon is the planet of happiness, pleasure, etc. You put him in the 8th house of giving sudden changes. Moon doesn't like it. Mars is the planet of fight, war, and you put him in the 7th house of marriage, love. Tell Mars, make them have a happy relationship, get them married. Mars is not going to like it. He will say, I know how to make them fight, not how to make them patch up. So Mars in the 7th house doesn't like that house at all. And Venus is the planet of love, affection. And if you put him in the 6th house, let us say, and tell him, make them fight, he is going to say, no, I don't know how to do that. 6th house is also the house of bachelorhood. So again, if you put Venus there and tell him, make this person a bachelor, he doesn't know how, I don't know how to do that, I know the opposite of that. So Venus in the 6th house is Manakaraka sthana. Jupiter. What is the Manakarka Sthana for Jupiter? Anybody remember? Third house. Third house is the house of boldness, Parakrama. You tell Jupiter, make him bold, give him lot of weapons. He knows, I don't know how to do that. I only know peace. So Jupiter in the third house. What is the Manakarka Sthana for who did we read? Saturn. First house. You tell him, take care of his health. Make him healthy and happy. Because Lagna is the essence of your existence. It is your health, your character, everything. You put Saturn there. Give him good health. Saturn will know what does it mean, what is good health. Because he only knows how to give sickness, suffering, etc. So Saturn in the first house is Manakarka Sthana for him. Wow, who did we leave? Buddha. Again, what is Buddha? Pardon me? Actually, if you ask me, there are no two. It's just confusion. Seventh house as per classes, as per accepted classes. So seventh house is the Manakarka Sthana for Mercury. And what is the Manakarka Sthana for Rahu? Ninth house. Okay. Okay. Why is the seventh house for Mercury? Why? What do you think? Why is Mercury uncomfortable with the seventh house? House of relationship, house of love, etc. And Mercury is just a scholar. He is an impassionate learner. Mercury is basically learner. And he is not studying. Mercury is, if you read the 108 names of Mercury in Sanskrit, one of the names is Vakrati Vakra Gamana, which means he keeps going back and forth. He goes direct for a few days, retrograde for a few days, direct for a few days, retrograde for a few days. With respect to Earth, of course. Of course, with respect to Sun, he is always going normally. But from our vantage point, he is basically very irregular motion, very unsteady, very vacillating. He is like Mercury, doesn't stay in one place. You tell him, see, if you look at Mercury in the 6th house or 8th house, they are considered good houses for him. Usually for benefit planets, 6 and 8 are not great houses. But for example, Jupiter in the 6th house doesn't give good results. When he is transiting in the 6th house from your natal moon, Jupiter doesn't give great results. Even in the 8th, he doesn't give great results. But Mercury, when he is transiting in the 6th and 8th houses from your moon, he gives very good results. It is in the 7th house that he doesn't give good results. The reason is, in the 6th house, Mercury is at home because he is a scholar. Tell him to fight, argue. I mean, for scholar, 6th house is not fighting with weapons. It is basically argument. So, for a scholar, argument is life. He loves 6th house. That is why, if you look at the house of the natural zodiac, where Mercury is exalted, that is Virgo. It is his own house. It is his Mola Trikona. Mola Trikona means it is his office, the workplace. Also, it is his exaltation place. That's where he loves being. Because Virgo is the 6th house of the natural zodiac. So he loves that. Of course, the other thing he loves is 3rd house. Because Gemini is his own sign. And Gemini is the 3rd house of the natural zodiac. And again, what does 3rd house show? Communication. Parakrama and also communication. So Mercury likes communicating. Mercury likes argument. But when you say maintain a good relationship, have love, Mercury doesn't really understand it. He is too scholarly to understand that. So again, Mercury doesn't like the 7th house. Based on transits as well as based on Ashtaka, he loves being in the 4th house. 4th house is a very good house for him. Because that's learning. For me? Yes, 8th house. What does 8th house show? 7 things, 7 changes, hard work. And if you put a learner, a scholar in that house, he loves that. A scholar needs a lot of hard work. He needs 7 changes. If things become monotonous, he doesn't like it. You are learning something, and suddenly a new point comes up, which opens a new area. You love that. A scholar will love that because that's a new challenge for you. For somebody else, it may be a challenge. Oh my God, I have to do that now. But for a scholar, for a learner, natural learner, that's what he loves. That's what he thrives in. So for Mercury, if Mercury is in the 8th house, the Shastras say the person will be very learned and he will have very wide learning. He will know various subjects, not just one subject. He will know something in every subject. That's what they say for Mercury in the 8th house. So Mercury, if he is in the 4th house or 6th house or 8th house, he is very happy there. 2nd house, 11th house. These are good houses for him. But 7th house is not so good. And he is in Manakarka Sthana there. And for Rahu, the Manakarka Sthana is 9th house. Any guesses why? 9th house is the house of Dharma. It is the house of protection. You go and ask Rahu, come, I am doing my dharma well. Dharmo rakshata rakshita. If you follow your dharma, it protects you. So I am following my dharma. Please come and save me. He will say, oh, you are following dharma? Okay, I have to take care of you. So, also, to look at it another way, you tell Rahu, take care of this person's dharma. Suppose he is in the 9th house in your chart. So he is in charge of your dharma. So tell him, make sure of his dharma. It's like taking a thug, taking a mafia guy, putting him in a temple and saying, take care of all these idols. Ensure that dharma is upheld in this place. He will try, but he has to try so hard that everything else will have to take backseat. Whatever else he normally does, he has to forget and just practice this. Then only he will be able to give it.
That's a good thing. Because he forgets conceit, defeat, everything, and focuses on dharma.
Yeah, it's very good in a way. Yeah?
If they are located in the house of other planets,
Yeah.
one, they take over the behavior of the other planets. Number two, they also take the character of the house in which
Okay. That is not 100% correct. That is more correct for Mercury. Mercury has no nature of his own. He is like a transparent paper. You put it on a red color sheet, you see red. You put it on a green color sheet, you see green. He doesn't have a color of his own. He is highly flexible. So if he is with Jupiter, he is the greatest benefit. Mercury becomes a benefit. If he is with Saturn, he will become like Saturn. He will be very mental. So Mercury is the one who is very flexible and adaptive. He can change his colors based on where he is, who he is with. Whereas with Rahu and Ketu, it's not entirely true that they will take the nature of the sign they are in or the nature of the planets they are with. Because if they are with Sun, for example, they don't become like Sun, full of light, give light and heat. That's not what they become. They try to obstruct that light. They try to obstruct, eclipse Sun. Similarly, if they are with Moon, they don't become happy like Moon. Instead, they make the Moon unhappy. They just eclipse the Moon so that mind can't see any light from the source. Moon can't see any light from the Sun. So that's what they try to do. So they don't really... Similarly, if they are with Jupiter, if Rahu is with Jupiter, it's called Guru Chandala Yoga. That is a bad yoga. Basically, your intellect will be blocked. It doesn't mean your intellect dies. Intellect never dies. Mind never dies. Soul never dies. Mind almost never dies. Soul never dies, almost. But the thing is, intellect is there, but when Rahu is covering it, what it means is it will not be able to function. The role of the intellect is to control your mind. Similarly, the role of Jupiter is to control your moon, to influence your moon in a way, in such a way that good things happen for you. That is the role of Jupiter. So if Jupiter is with Rahu, that intellect is basically obstructed. It's like there is a dark glass that is covering the light, covering the pure yellow light of Jupiter. So that is how you can look at it. So when Rahu and Ketu are with other planets, they don't take the nature. If they are with their friends, they will try to behave like their friends. If they are with Saturn, they may be Saturnine. If they are with Venus, they may be slightly Venusian. So with friends, they try to adapt a little bit because they also are kind of like Mercury. They don't have a nature of their own except trying to destroy Sun, Moon and Jupiter. That's all. They don't have any other nature. They have a motive, but not an exact nature. So what you said is partially true, but not entirely correct. But there is another important point. The results given by Rahu and Ketu. In some dashas, Rahu and Ketu don't have a dasha of their own. So, if you want to see the dasha when Rahu's or Ketu's results are given, you can take the lord of the sign or a planet who is with them. Suppose Rahu is in Scorpio or Rahu is in Libra, let us say. He is with, let's say, Mercury. So, because he is with Mercury, Mercury can end up giving Rahu's results. Or, because he is in a Venusian sign, Venus will end up giving Rahu's sign. This is like you have a handicapped person, he is in your house. He has to file some claims or send some bills. He will ask you to help. If you are a roommate, you will go and help him. If he has no roommate, then the landlord may go to collect the rent and he will take whatever checks he has to post and then post it for him. It's kind of like that. If you take Tithi Ashtotri Dasha that we normally use in the lunar return chart, Rahu has a Dasha but Ketu doesn't have a Dasha. Similarly, there is another dasha where Ketu has a dasha but Rahu doesn't have a dasha. And there is another dasha system where neither Rahu nor Ketu have a dasha. So in those cases, you are supposed to use this particular principle. You had a follow-up question?
No.
Okay. Any other questions?
What about using Rudra?
You mean?
D11.
Yeah, of course we will use D11, but first let's see in the Rashi. Because Rashi is the chart that shows physically what's happening. And Rudramsha shows the environment of destruction. People will be feeling a lot of destruction happening around them. So that environment is shown by Rudramsha. So we'll look at Rudramsha also, but first let us look at Rashi chart. So the links we have found so far are same Lagna, same sun sign, same moon sign. Sun and moon are in the 8th house. And like I said, for moon, 8th house is really terrible because it's Manakarka Sthana person. So he feels helpless in that particular house. Exchange of Mars and Jupiter in one case. Yeah.
And 9th Lord in 8th house in the case of
9th Lord in?
8th house in the case of 1900.
Yeah. We are just looking at similarity. Pardon me? Okay. We are focusing on the similarity. First of all, it is Sun and Moon, Lagna Lord and Moon in the 8th house. Second of all, it is a, what kind of sign is the 8th house? Watery sign. It is watery sign containing Moon. Out of all the planets there, the one who is most perturbed is Moon. Moon in the 8th house is really perturbed. And that Moon is a watery planet and this is a watery sign. So, there may be all other kinds of problems because there are so many planets. For me, it's same in both. Yeah, it's the same. You're right. So, you can say that irrespective of other things, one common theme will be that there will be destruction during this particular year relating to water. Pardon me? Both the cases A4 is involved. What is A4? A4 is the sukha, happiness, the tangible happiness. So, if A4 is in 12th house, usually in that year, people in the country will not feel a lot of happiness. They will not be very comfortable. That comfort will be lacking. They feel as if something is hanging on their head, something is going to fall. This is not related to Katrina or related to that particular hurricane. I am just saying in general. If A4 is in the 12th house, people feel very uncomfortable. Because A4, 4th house is happiness, sukha, comfort. But A4 is the Arudha of that, Arudha Pada. Arudha Pada means the manifestation. The manifestation in a tangible way of the happiness or comfort that the people feel. Now other link is, he brought out Hora Lord. If you check the Hora Lord at the time of the chart, the Hora running, the planetary hour that was running at the time was Moon on both the cases. It was Moon Hora that was running at the time of the chart. So both the years, Moon was the ruler of the year and he was in Manakarka Sthana in a Vati sign. So this shows this is the link. So based on this, you can conclude that both the years there will be some water destruction. So what is the lesson from this? If you see another year, maybe 50 years later or 40 years later, in which you see similar combinations, Leo rising, Sun and Moon in the 8th house, and probably Moon being Hora Lord, if you see, you can suspect that during that year there will be some destruction relating to water. Doesn't have to be hurricane, it can be tsunami, it can be anything. Now let us go to the Rudramsha, because said brought up Rudramsha. Rudramsha shows death and destruction. Now, as far as the Rudramsha is concerned, are there any similarities? What are the houses important in Rudramsha? If you want to see destruction, what are the houses? What is the main house for destruction? For me? Why? Which house did you say? 11th, okay. What are the houses of death? Maraka, not Manakaraka, Maraka Sthana. Manakaraka Sthana is a term that we use for each planet. There is one bad house. Third from AL, but that is in Rashi chart. For me? 2 and 7. The Maraka Sthanas or killer stations are 2 and 7. The houses of longevity are 3rd and 8. 3rd is vitality, 8th is longevity, the length of life. And 2nd and 7th are 12th house from them, respectively. 2nd is the 12th from 3rd. 7th is the 12th from 8th. If you take one back, from 8 you get 7, from 3 you get 2. So those are the 12th house of loss, giving up. So when you give up your vitality, that can be your death. When you give up your longevity, the length of your life, that can be death. So second and seventh houses are houses of death. Yeah.
Can the second house then indicate diseases?
Not really. It just shows death. But if you have the 6th house and 8th house show diseases, if the lord of the 6th house, let us say, is in the 2nd house, you can conclude that there will be death because of some disease. And you can see the nature of the disease based on the nature of the planet. If the planet is, let's say, Jupiter with Venus, it's probably diabetes. If the planet is Moon with, let's say, Mars, probably it is some heart, not heart. Moon can be blood, yes, blood. Some blood pressure problems or some blood related things. So like that you can see based on the nature of the planet, what kind of problem it is.
The reason I ask the question is the third house indicates vitality.
Yeah.
So I assume the second house is first from third indicates weakness.
How the vitality is lost, yes. Yes.
That's the reason I asked whether disease probably is the
It can be the seed for disease also, but it is just a seed. Loss of vitality is a seed for disease. But whether disease comes or not is from 6th and 8th houses. Those are the houses that show disease.
The second house can also indicate accidents.
Second house, not really. Because accident doesn't need loss of vitality. If you don't have, if your vitality is weak, you are just weak. It doesn't mean you have an accident. Similarly, if somebody may be very strong, still accident can happen. Accident is accident by definition. Happens by accident. It just happens. So it has nothing to do with your vitality. So further, the most important house is 8th house. Some people take 6th house also. So 6th and 8th are the houses that show accidents. Especially if you talk about vehicular accidents. Look at 6th and 8th houses, not the 2nd house. But if there is a link to the 2nd house, it can be death also because of it. 2nd house is the house of death. 2nd and 7th are the house of death. Because death is the final destruction of all your vitality. Totally giving up all your vitality. There may be some weakening in your vitality with time. But when you are dead, your vitality is fully gone. So
Death is a relative term.
yeah, it's a relative term. Just like life. Okay. Now, so look at the Rudramsas. If you look at the Rudramsas in both the cases, in this case, look at the 7th house. What are the strong influences here? First of all, who are the lords? Who is the biggest marka in this chart? Can somebody tell me in this Rudramsa, who is the biggest marka? Mars, you think is marka? Who agrees with him that Mars is marka? Mars is in the 2nd house of losing vitality, but he is Lagna Lord. He is not likely to kill. Yeah. So Mars is not marka. Who is marka? Who said Venus? Lot of people actually. You all get credit because Venus is the 2nd lord and 7th lord. He owns both the bad houses, both the marka sthanas. Forget the placement. So Venus is a marka in this case. When Venus is a marka, can death occur because of water? Moon, Venus and water signs, they show water. And where is Venus? Where is he placed? He is placed. The maraka is in, yes, he is in Meena. The water sign. The Meena shows oceans actually. There are several water signs. Some show rivers, some show ponds. Meena is especially supposed to show ocean. Now, look at the other, and who, can you find another marka, another important marka? See, the definition of Parasara is, 2nd and 7th lord is by default a marka. Secondly, any planet who associates with the 2nd lord or 7th lord, or aspects or occupies the 2nd or 7th house, they become marka. Occupying or aspecting 2nd or 7th house, especially if they are malefics, that is even better. Let's say Jupiter and Rahu are aspecting the 7th house. Rahu becomes marka, Jupiter doesn't become marka. Any malefics who are aspecting or occupying 2nd and 7th houses are associating with the 7th lord or 2nd lord. They become marka. Here, Rahu and Mars are in the 2nd house. But Mars is Lagna lord, yes.
We got Mesha to the Rasi, I have and taking Mesha to the Rasi, you say 2nd house is marka here.
Yeah.
But that just depends upon, we are talking about Rudramsa,
Yeah.
and it also depends upon what are your different signs. My Lagna is in Taurus.
What do you mean your Lagna is in Taurus?
It should be same, right?
No, Ugadi time should be same.
Are you looking at the lunar New Year chart?
Yes, I'm looking at Lagna really.
What is the data you get?
Which Washington do you use?
Here are 1900
1900
numbers.
March 30. Are you getting 15, 30, 38?
58.
As 330, 38? Alright. Are you using Lahi Ainamsa? Are you making it for DC?
I'm looking at Washington DC.
Yeah. See, just look at this window here. All the data is here. Check if there is any discrepancy. The data right here should match. If it doesn't match, calculations will be different. If it matches and calculations are different, there is some other setting difference, like Ainamsa. How you can be?
Whatever the 4 hours.
Pardon me?
Washington is time zone 4 hours.
Are you looking at Washington District of Columbia?
Yeah.
It may, for all you know, this may be on a border. No, it's not on a border. 6 minutes, 7 minutes delay. So you should get the same. It's not on a border like just a little change will change it. It's in the middle.
Okay.
6 minutes this way, 7 minutes this way, leeway you have.
Yeah, I had the problem with the place. It was not Washington.
What was it? Yeah.
It was Alabama.
Washington?
Coordinates for 73 countries.
So you have some other Washington.
Yeah.
Washington in some other state.
Now it is.
Yeah. Okay, now move the capital from there to DC. Okay, so Rahu is in the second house, and is he aspecting the seventh house also? Yeah, he has aspect on the seventh house. We are looking at Rashi Drishti here, because that is the permanent aspect. So Rahu is a male shape who is associated with both second and seventh houses. So he becomes a Marka. So you have Venus and Rahu being the Markas. And look at this chart. Look at this chart, this lunar New Year chart. Who are the Markas here? Second Lord is Moon. And who's the seventh Lord? Jupiter. Seventh Lord is Jupiter, second Lord is Moon. Now, any other Markas who are aspecting, anybody who is aspecting second house or seventh house?
Rahu is aspecting.
Rahu is aspecting. Rahu is aspecting the seventh house and Saturn is aspecting second house. So there are two Markas and both of them are in Vati sign. And this Rahu is Susi. For me? Yeah, I'm talking about Rashi Drishti here. Rashi Drishti I'm leaving. Because that's just a desire. I'm looking at the permanent influence on the house. So Rahu is aspecting the seventh house and he is with exalted Venus. So like somebody asks, you ask, Rahu can take the nature of Venus, exalted Venus. So again, in this chart also, there is an exalted Venus who is aspecting the seventh house, but being with Rahu, basically he is the teacher of the demon, who is with his favorite demon, favorite student, Rahu. So he will be a little demonish, even though he is a great teacher, Venus, because he is with Rahu. They both vibe basically. So Venus and Rahu combination is there aspecting the seventh house. So that is another similarity. But even otherwise, both the strong Markas, Rahu and Saturn, are placed in Vati sign. So again, we can expect some Vati problems. So those are the links that you have between the two charts. But it is interesting that you have a big conglomeration in a Vati sign, and it's interesting that Moon is the Hora lord. They are aspected in the seventh house by Rashi Drishti. There are two kinds of aspects. One is Graha Drishti, based on the longitude. Some planets aspect certain houses. Each planet will by default aspect the seventh house from them. Because seventh house is the house of desire. It's a Kama Trikona, the trines of desire. So seventh house from Lagna shows your desire. Seventh house from Arudha Lagna shows the desire of your image. Seventh house from Sun shows Sun's desire. Seventh house from Jupiter shows Jupiter's desire. So if you take the seventh house from any planet, that shows the desire of that planet. So naturally the planet aspects it. The definition of Graha Drishti is basically whatever the planet desires to influence, the planet will have a Graha Drishti aspect on that house. So by default, every planet will aspect the seventh house from them because they have a desire to influence their own desire, because by default that's their desire. But in addition, some planets have other desires. Jupiter has a desire to give you children, to give you ability, to give you dharma. So 5th and 9th houses he aspect. Similarly, Saturn has a desire to give you initiative so that you can do your work. He wants you to work, but people don't feel like working. In order to feel like working, you need the initiative. So Saturn wishes, if only I could give them some initiative so that they can do, then they can work. Why only 8 hours every day? Maybe 11 hours is even better. You can get over with your karma faster and get moksha faster. So let them help. Let me help them by making them, by forcing them work for 11 hours. So that is how Saturn thinks. So he wants to make you work, and he wants to give you initiative to do that work. So his special aspect is on the houses 3rd and 10th. Other planets don't have a full aspect on those houses. They only have a quarter aspect. Actually, according to Parasara, all planets aspect 3rd and 10th houses from them. But the aspect is only 1/4. But for Saturn, it is very full. It is 100% aspect on those houses, the 3rd and 10th houses. Similarly, for Mars, it is 4th and 8th. But the main thing you should take from this is, these are the houses the planet desires to influence. These are the desires of the planet. Desires may or may not be fulfilled. So Grahadrishti may or may not be fulfilled. But there is another kind of aspect that is defined by Parasara and also Jaimini. Normally, if you take contemporary literature, people call these Jaimini aspects. Instead of calling them Rasidrishti or sign aspects, they say Jaimini aspects. People tell you that there are two systems, Parasari system and Jaimini system. They say that when you are using Parasari system, don't use Arudapadas, don't use Argala, don't use sign aspects. They say it is incompatible. They say Jyotish Dasha is Parasari astrology and Charadasha is Jaimini astrology. Like that, there is a clear bifurcation in current literature, but that is total nonsense. If you read Parasara's literature, he talked about everything. So it is that Parasara taught a combined astrology, not two systems. One system he taught, and then Jaimini specialized in some of the aspects of Parasara's teaching and wrote his classics, which goes deeper into certain aspects. That made people think that, if you ask those people, there was actually a debate on one of the Yahoo groups recently about Parasari versus Jaimini. And I asked them, what is the definition of Parasari astrology? The definition is apparently whatever is not in Jaimini Sutram. The definition of Jaimini Sutram is, the definition of Jaimini astrology is, whatever is in Jaimini Sutram is Jaimini astrology. The definition of Parasari astrology is, whatever is attributed to Parasara, whatever is in the works attributed to Parasara, which is Gurukrpa, Parasara, Hora, Shastram, but not in Jaimini Sutram, that is Parasari astrology. That's a stupid definition if you ask me. And they will also say that actually whatever is attributed to Parasara today is not really written by Parasara, this is somebody else, the real Parasara did not write this. Then I ask them, okay, then what is proof? What is the, okay, forget there is a proof. Okay, there is some work given by real Parasara. What is it? They don't know. They say that it is lost. If it is lost, how do you know that it doesn't contain sign aspects Argala? Again, they don't have answer. One of the gentlemen who was in debate said, I don't like your debating style, I'm just walking away. Just walk away. Like that people just walk away. But the thing is, they have a strong bias that there are two systems, Jaimini astrology and Parasari astrology, and you can't mix. But as you have seen, we have in the last year or year and a half, we have been using Arudapadas when we use Vinchotri. For us, there is no difference between Tithi Astotri Dasha, Vinchotri Dasha, house and Arudapada. We use all of them, but with a clear meaning. We don't mix up A3 with third house. A3 has a particular meaning for us, third house has a particular meaning. So, bottom line is, all these bifurcations that are present in contemporary literature are just nonsense. They are the wheel of Kali that is on great scholars, which makes them think that all these bifurcations is there. So why did I come here? The thing is, there are two kinds of aspects, Grahadrishti and Rasidrishti. You can use both always, but you have to understand the meaning of those. Grahadrishti shows a desire of a planet to give a particular result, to influence the matters of a particular house. And Rasidrishti shows, it doesn't show any desire. It shows that the planet has influence. It is like Rasidrishti is based on where you are. If you are in Cancer, you are always aspecting Taurus. It is like if I live in this house, there is a neighbor, I talk to him every day. So I have certain influence on him. He wants to do a particular thing, I can influence him because we live next door. There may be a priest, there may be a very religious person who wants to influence the priest so that a particular puja That then at the temple is not done on Thursday but on Friday, because Thursday the person is going to be away and he wants to attend the puja, so he may request the priest, can you change it to Friday so that I can come? So if you are a neighbor of the priest, you have a good chance of influencing him. You will have access to him. You have a full permanent access. So you will be able to tell him and get it done. Whereas if you have a grahadrishti, you only have a desire, you live far away. So you want to ask the priest, but you may or may not be able to do it. So grahadrishti is a weaker drishti. Compared to it, rajadrishti is more important. And when you are looking at marakas, you can look at both. One wants to kill, the other one is in a position to kill. That's the difference. And if you find somebody who has both, who has the inclination to kill as well as is in a position to kill, he is the one who is going to kill.
The Arab Al-Sudi wrote a book on meteorology.
Yeah.
And he really, the chakras are the most important.
What is? Nakshatra? Nakshatra. Okay.
And both of these occurred, both of these lunar years occurred during Ravatri.
During?
Ravatri.
Revati?
Revati.
Ah, okay, okay.
Both of them.
Yeah. Okay, the thing is that you have to take that particular thing with a pinch of salt, because this lunar new year is likely to happen either Gurubhadra, Uttarabhadra, Revati. There are only 3 nakshatras in which moon can be. His point is the nakshatra occupied by moon is very important. For sun, the sign is very important. For moon, the nakshatra is probably even more important. Moon rules over the division of zodiac into nakshatra. So moon's nakshatra is vital. So his point is, in both the charts, moon is in the Revati star, the star of Revati. The thing with that, my point was, there are 5 nakshatra padas, 9 nakshatra padas in Pisces. And by definition, this lunar new year occurs when sun and moon have a conjunction in Pisces. That is the definition. So there are 9 nakshatra padas. Out of those, 4 belong to Revati. So the probability that moon will be in the Revati star on the lunar new year day is 4 over 9. It's a very high probability. So Lagna could probably be more likely. So if you look at the Lagna in both the charts, in one case it is Magha, in one case it is in 4 Falguni. So you don't really have anything from that point of view. Yeah. They are both in? Who? Sun and moon? So another important observation that Kiran made is, you are laughing. So you are jumping ahead. One important observation Kiran made is, sun and moon are exactly the same longitude in both the charts. Can you notice it? 25 degrees 10 minutes, 25 degrees 10 minutes, and here 17 degrees 13 minutes, 17 degrees 13 minutes. But that is the definition. The lunar new year occurs when sun and moon are at the same longitude in Pisces. That is the definition of Indian lunar new year. Similarly, if you look at the Chinese new year, the definition is when sun and moon are together in Capricorn at the same longitude. That is their definition. And the definition, by the way, actually I just want to mention this. The definition, there is another definition. Actually, I think I mentioned it in a previous class, but let's just mention again. We have so many solar and lunar calendars that are prevalent in various parts of the world. Just a few days back, some Indians, some people from Gujarat and some areas of India, they marked their New Year after the festival of Diwali. After the Amavasya, when the Kartika Shukla Pratipada starts, the Kartika month starts, they mark their lunar New Year, they celebrate New Year. And the point I want to drill into your brain is, it's not that one lunar calendar is right and all others are wrong. All the lunar calendars that are prevalent in various parts of the world are correct. They have a meaning of their own. It's not that one chart is correct and others are wrong. If you want to say what's going to happen in the country, you can use each of them, but they are not interchangeable. Each has its own role. If you look at the solar calendars, because Sun is the planet of politics and power and kings, it shows various politics that are happening in the country, various political machinations, how various kings are manipulating, how various kings are dealing with each other. It shows various political matters. If you want the mood of the country, the mood of masses, you should go with moon rather than sun. Sun is the ruling class, moon is the mind, which is the collective consciousness of the country, which is the masses, all the people in the country. So if you want to see things that affect the masses, look at lunar calendar. And again, when you look at lunar calendar, The Sun Moon conjunction can be occurring in Pisces, like here in this chart, or Capricorn, like in Chinese New Year, or in Libra, like the Gujarati New Year. Now, what is the importance? You can see the nature of the sign. Based on the sign, there is a particular kind of matters that you see. For example, in the Kartika Shukla Pratipada chart, the Gujarati New Year chart, Sun Moon conjunction will occur in the sign of Libra. What does Libra show? It's business. It's the natural zodiac 7th house. 7th house of the natural zodiac. And 7th house is business, desires, etc. So Libra is the sign of business, business malls. In astrology also, Prasna, it shows malls, business places. So, when Sun Moon conjunction occurs in Libra, a new year starts for the purpose of business, for financial purposes. So if you want to see how the business in the country is going to be, how financial fortunes of the country are going to be during the coming year, you are better off not, don't use this chart. This is for the general mood of the country, whether people feel happy, relaxed, comfortable, uncomfortable, etc. If you want to see how the finances are in the country during the year, go with the Gujarati New Year, the Kartika Shukla Pratipada chart. That is also there in the software. Enter the date you are interested in and find the previous financial New Year. I just call it financial New Year because that's an easier understood term than if I say Kartika Shukla Pratipada chart. That is a real technical term.
It seems like then any conjunction sometimes in a particular party can be treated as a new beginning
for some matter.
Correct.
And you have to find what that is. Yes, actually, if you look at the planetary cabinet that is found in tradition, even though they make in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh states of India, they make a lunar new year in March or April based on Sun Moon conjunction in Pisces. But to see who's the ruler of the year, like I said, they take the next year's Vidya Lord. But to see the mantri, to see the accountant, to see the minister, to see the chief of the army, to see various things, they take Sun Moon conjunction or solar entry in various signs during the coming year. And then they take the Vidya Lord of that day. So there is a clue there, which is, if you just want to see how the army, defense matters in the country will be, you are better off using a different chart. The problem is all that knowledge is lost. People celebrate just one New Year. The thing is, in some parts of India, spirituality is important. In some parts of India, general mundane happiness is important. In some parts of India, the politics is important. In some parts of India, financial matters are more important. People are more business-minded. So based on that, some New Years became famous there. Some New Year became very prevalent, more important than others. They started celebrating that. But if you go back to the roots of all these practices, you can find that, like you said, there can be one New Year based on each sign, lunar. Similarly, one New Year for each sign based on solar entry into that sign. And each has a role of its own. And because we are not really intellectually, our intellectual acumen is very low compared to that of Rishi, we can't figure out everything. But we can take hints from what the Rishis thought, and then you can develop from there. So I will not tell you exactly what is to be used for what, because I myself am not sure. But one thing I am sure of is, if you use Libra, Sun Moon conjunction in Libra, which happened just a few days back, that will tell you how things will be in the country during that particular year for financial matters. I try to do some correlations based on that and the stock market, and that is actually how I was saying 2007 will be a bad year for the stock market. Next year will be good in this country. 2006 will be a good year, but from the Diwali of 2006, which is November 2006 till November 2007, I expect it to be a bad year with a lot of recession kind of situation, economy going backwards. I have to make that prediction based on this particular chart. For me, I expect 2007 to be a bad year. I expect the coming year to be a slightly bullish year. November 2006 for a year. So, yeah. Another thing, I just want to make one more point. On Diwali day, it is a custom in Gujarat and some parts of India to pray to Mahalakshmi, and also they call it the accounts day. They close all their accounts and start new books. Yeah, all the new books they start on this particular day when Sun and Moon have a conjunction in the sign of Libra. They start their books fresh, because that is the chart that is important for seeing financial matters. So that is how that practice has come. And you can experiment with various other charts. I have experimented for, actually I will not do it now, but for weather matters, how any extreme weather conditions that come in the country, I experimented with Gemini. Gemini is the third house of the natural zodiac. I experimented with the Sun Moon conjunction in Gemini and I found some good results. So there is a lot of scope for research. If you want to see when US attacks Iraq or when it attacks some other country, if you want to see, there may be a different lunar new year than the one that we are using. But the thing is, the one we are using basically shows how people feel in the country during the year, how happy and unhappy people are, how peaceful or opposites that they are. So from that point of view, if there is a war, people will feel unhappy. If there is a natural disaster, people feel unhappy. If there is a stock market crash, people feel unhappy. So all those things to some extent find reflected in this chart. But the thing is, if you want clarity on one particular matter, one particular aspect, you are better off looking at that particular chart. Okay?
So you have information outlook from the collective consciousness,
Right.
Whether it's correlating to them happy or not.
From various angles.
But individually, if you aware of your own chart, how do you kind of like endure that period and be sad or bad?
For somebody, it may be still a good period. It may be a period of opportunity for somebody.
Right.
So you look at their own chart.
Right. Like high person right now enjoying making profit. All the oil companies are making profit. Right. Whereas all the people who are buying gasoline are companies.
Right.
Actually, coming to this chart,
Yeah.
I was, me and, we were trying to get exact, not exact time, the
Yeah.
date when this happened.
Uh-huh.
One case it happened, another case it happened, Moon special.
Moon Dasha?
Yeah.
Which case was Moon Dasha?
1900 series it is Moon Dasha.
Yeah.
And then in 2005 it is Saturn Dasha.
Saturn Dasha. We will come to that just in a moment. Just give me a moment. We will come to the Dasha. But, pardon me? No, you can use Dasha in a year because it's compressed.
But if you use the compressed Dasha in a year,
Yeah.
still it has got the connotation of the whole lifespan.
Yeah.
How,
That's right. But whether the lifespan is 120 years or 200 years, as long as you are compressing it to a year, you are fine. When you find, see, the question was, I'll take your question, I'll finish this point. The question asked was, the dashas, use of dashas in these mundane charts. Suppose you take, let us say, you want to take the 1900 chart, let us say. If you find the dasha, if you find the Vimshotri dasha, the hurricane, if you find the compressed Vimshotri dasha, what it does is, normally for people, Vimshotri dasha is of 120 years length. Sun dasha is 6 years, Moon dasha is 10 years and so on. To combine all, you get 120 years. But what the software does is, from that lunar new year till the next lunar new year starts, roughly 354 or 384 days. So for that duration, it compresses from 120 years, it compresses to that duration, and then it gives the dasha. So if you look at the hurricane that devastated Galveston, swept away Galveston, that was in Moon dasha, as per the compressed Vimshotri dasha. So that is what he is talking about. I'll come to that. I just want to show you, because I mentioned the financial new year chart, I just want to mention to you one example. Take the year 1930, because it's a very famous year for the financial market. Take the year 1930-31. If you look at the the conjunction of Sun and Moon in Libra, that happened in the 5th degree of Libra. They were at 4 degrees 53 minutes 27.06 seconds, and you will see Moon slightly ahead, 27.07 seconds, because technically it's not conjunction, when Moon is just breaking out of Sun, just a little ahead, that's the definition. So I just do, the precision I have in the software is 0.01 arc seconds, so that is how I do it. So anyway, at that time, if you make the chart, for those who are listening to the audio, the data is October 21, 1930, 4:48:07 p.m. if you use the standard time, EST. If you use another time zone, change the time accordingly. It doesn't really matter, because you can express time in any zone. I just use 5-hour time zone and I got this time. The place is Washington DC. So this is when Sun and Moon had an exact conjunction in Libra sign. So this is important to see how country will do during the next 1 year. Like I said, if you look at the normal lunar new year chart, which comes in March, April, you may still see some links, but this will be more telling because this is fine-tuned for the financial market during the year, how the business will be, how the feelings of people will be relating to business. So see how the chart is. What is the important chart if you want to see finances? Hora chart. Hora shows the financial environment in the country. So if you look at the Hora chart, the D2 chart, which is based on dividing each sign into 2 parts, how is the strength of this chart? Is Lagna strong? Who is sitting in Lagna? Saturn is sitting in Lagna. In general, if Saturn is in Lagna, is it favorable? That is Manakarka Sthana for Saturn. And in general, Saturn is a planet of contraction when you are talking about finances. He is the planet of contraction rather than expansion. So Saturn is in Lagna. Is anybody else in Manakarka Sthana? One second. Yes. Even if Saturn is the owner of the place, he is still in Manakarka Sthana. Then he will give mixed results. There will be good results as well as bad results. Mercury. Can anybody find any other planets who are in Manakarka Sthana? Mercury, they said. The 7th Lord, 7th is the house of business. The 7th Lord is in Manakarka Sthana. 12th and 11th, 12th is the house of giving and 11th is the house of gain. The Lord is in Manakarka Sthana. Any other planets in Manakarka Sthana? Rahu. Rahu is in 9th house. Rahu is in Manakarka Sthana. Any other planet? Moon. Moon is in Manakarka Sthana, 8th house. So, you have 4 planets out of 9. Actually, not 9 have Manakarka Sthana. Ketu doesn't have a Manakarka Sthana. He is happy anyway. As long as I can give you moksha, see, he says, other planets will say, oh, am I in the 9th house? So I am supposed to give you dharma? Okay. Am I in the 3rd house? I am supposed to give you boldness? Okay, I'll look at it. Ketu, which house am I? Am I in? I don't care. I just want to give you moksha wherever I am.
Moksha means you won't give the result of that house.
He wants to deprive you of it, detach you from the results of the house and give you moksha. Ketu is single-minded. Actually, he doesn't have a mind. That is why he is single-focused. His focus is moksha. That's it. So for Ketu, there is no Manakarka Sthana. He doesn't give death in any particular house. He only gives moksha. So out of the 8 planets who can have Manakarka Sthana, the death-inflicting house, 4 of them are in Manakarka Sthana, which is a rare occurrence. And not only that, Lagna is beaten down. How is the 5th house? 5th house is the house of emotion. If you are looking at stock market, 5th house is very important. How is the 5th house? Is it strong or weak? It has a very weak Mars. And A8 is there. Pardon me? A8 is there. What does A8 show? It's basically death. A8 is Vrithipada. It shows death. But I said in the previous class, in mundane charts, let's stay away from Arudha. So let's stay away from it. Now how is the 5th Lord? Moon. 8th house. And remember another thing. Apart from houses and everything, if you are looking at any chart, Sun and Moon are key. Luminaries are the life force in any chart. Because Sun is the soul and Moon is the mind. Those two are very important. These are the ruling class and the masses. They should be happy with the financial situation. If the kings are feeling, oh my God, the financial situation is bad, that means things are bad. If people are feeling, oh my God, stock market is down, what should I do with my money? Again, that shows that things are bad. The kings, the government and the people have to feel good with whatever is happening. Similarly, individuals, the soul and mind have to be happy. If they are not happy, even if other things within you are happy, still things are not happy. So Sun and Moon are very vital. Even if you see any Raj Yoga, like somebody may have a Hamsa Yoga, still if Moon is weak, Sun is weak, the yoga will not be functioning fully. Sun is the bringer of the yoga. Any yoga, Sun is the one who brings it and Moon is the one who sustains it. So you need the strength of Sun is the one who starts it, the Atma starts anything. Without Atma's cooperation, nothing will start. And Moon, mind, is the one that prolongs it, that makes it sustain. So without the strength of Sun and Moon, Surya, Chandra, nothing, no yoga fully functions. And especially in financial markets, those are very important. So look at the strength of Sun and Moon irrespective of the chart. Of course, the chart itself is bad here because Saturn is in Lagnam, 8th house is very dominant. Chart itself is bad, but look at Sun and Moon. They are in the 8th house and one of them is debilitated. And not only that, Ketu is with them. You have Ketu with Sun and Moon. What does that mean? Pardon me? Yeah, ninth lord in 8th house is withdrawal of the protection. But apart from it, the fact that 8th house is strong, it has moon and sun, and Ketu is with sun and moon means that there is some kind of eclipse. Ketu and Rahu cause eclipse of sun and moon. So luminaries are not only beaten in the 8th house, but they are being eclipsed by Ketu. So when you see such a New Year chart for the financial New Year, for the Kartika Shukla Pratipada chart, you can conclude that this year is going to be terrible, not even bad, going to be terrible. Luckily 2006, 2007 is not this terrible, it's just bad. But this particular year you can see is terrible.
Is it just the 8th house or anywhere?
8th house is particularly, it shows instability. But in general 6th, 8th and 12th are called Dusthana, bad houses. Yeah. Go ahead. He gives moksha?
No, that's what, because Ketu is supposed to detach you from the
Yeah, absolutely.
houses.
Yeah,
So 8th house is the house of suffering
yeah.
and hard work,
Yeah.
and maybe even,
Especially hard work, risk taking, etc. When Ketu is in 8th house, he will detach you from everything. And also Ketu, 8th house is the house of sadhana. 8th house is the house of tapasya. So if you are talking about not material things, but spiritual progress, 8th is the house of that effort that you put in. So there, Ketu doesn't dissociate you from it, because that's what Ketu wants. So if you put Ketu in the 8th house, he will make you a great sadhaka. I know people who have Ketu in the 8th house, they are great sadhakas. So such a person will be into sadhana. He will be putting so much effort towards moksha. And here, you are not talking about a person. You are talking about a country. You are talking about a chart that shows money, finances. Moods of the country relating to finances. So people will feel like they got moksha. People feel like, oh, it's gone.
basically give up.
They give up. They basically, whole country gave up. First they think, maybe I can retrieve some money. At the end they think, oh, it's all gone. So that's what Ketu shows. No. There may be a stock exchange in New York. There may be a stock exchange in some other country, some other place, Chicago. There may be so many stock exchanges. But in these mundane charts, we always take the capital. Even if financial capital is in New York, all the decisions relating to financial market, as far as the king of the country is concerned, are taken in DC. I restarted.
And that is correct, because Alan Greenspan,
Yeah.
who is the chairman of the Financial Reserve, the Federal Reserve, he is in DC.
Right.
And when he changes interest rate, everything changes.
Right. That is where the king is.
But we could also look at New York, if you want to just look at New York market alone, have a good
But yeah, you can experiment. I don't have any fixed rigid views on this. You can experiment, but what I am taught by tradition and what I believe at this point of time is, you make the chart for the capital of the country, where the executive wing of the country is placed, which is in charge of the fortunes of the country in various areas of life. So that is important. So for US it is DC. Luckily DC and New York are not far apart. Had the stock exchange been in Seattle, for example, thank God it's not, there would be a big difference. Or maybe not, thank God, then you would have known which is working better. Because in this case, most of the years, both the charts are very identical between New York and DC. So you can't really tell.
And also, I mean, I'm not ready to do this, but there's a way to actually do a daily from the financial.
Actually, if you want to make daily predictions, there is more than this. The best would be to look at the stock exchange. The stock exchange that you are focusing on. For NYSE, there is a chart. Look at the NYSE chart and see how each day is. That would be more productive. I haven't really done a lot of research on that, but I just looked at annual and sometimes monthly things. I just correlated them a few years back and then I left it because I have so many other more important things. This is relatively less important. But you can study the NYSE chart. That will be more relevant. This only shows, it doesn't really tell you where the index is. It only tells you the mood of the people relating to financial market. How people feel.
Yeah, if you did it of the index.
The index, when it started,
Birth of the index.
it will be more correlated to the numbers. Yes. Right. Sometimes the market may do little up, but still people may be feeling very bad. People may feel like market is already going down because it's going to go down in a few days. So that apprehension you will be able to see here. So this is the mood of the people relating to the financial conditions and the business conditions in the country during this particular year. That's what this chart shows. Okay, now.
Annual chart, you can have financial, what do you think?
I don't have any. Okay. I had the angular return charts that I have researched are only for people. I haven't researched them in the mundane case at all. So I have absolutely no comment. Any other questions?
You mentioned with respect to India,
Yeah.
that different regions would be using different charts for good feeling and bad feeling.
Right.
Does that contradict what you said, for instance, with respect to the financial chart being determined for the whole country by Washington, D.C.?
Right. And when I said different parts use it, they all make the chart for New Delhi. In astrology, we have different new years. When Sun and Moon are together in Libra, we have a new year which shows how the financial markets will be in the country during the next 1 year. When Sun and Moon are in Pisces together, there is a new year that starts, which shows how people will feel in general, not specific to any particular thing like finance or defense. In general, how the people feel throughout the next 12 months or 13 months.
Would that follow that trajectory line you were talking about?
Pardon?
You recall that
Right.
trajectory line you were talking about?
Yeah.
Would this comment you just made follow that line?
No, it doesn't. Because depending on where the stock market is, or the place that you want to focus on is, it may be on a totally different longitude, latitude line compared to New Delhi or compared to DC. But what I am saying is, if you want to look at the collective consciousness of the whole country, how people are feeling during the year, because when the Dow Jones goes down or up, it affects the collective psyche of the whole country, not just one place. So further, I prefer the DC, that is the capital. So we make a chart based on DC. But the point I was making is, people do make a chart at DC, but they make at different times. Some people celebrate New Year in March and make a New Year chart at DC on a particular date in April. Some people do it in May. Some people do it in November. They make a New Year chart in November for DC. The point I was making was, these are all, they don't contradict each other. They just refine each other. One shows financial matters. One shows defense matters. One shows spiritual matters in the country. How spiritual or non-spiritual the country is going to be during the year. So there are various charts that throw light on various areas of life. One chart shows how political machinations will be during the country during the year, at the top level. Between kings, between the big wigs of various political parties, what kind of political machinations are going to happen in the country during that year. So for that there is a different New Year chart. So what I was saying is, originally long back, all these New Years had their own meaning and people were using all those. But as time progressed, there were parts of India where business is more important than spirituality or other things. There are parts of India where spirituality is more important. There are parts of India where politics is more important. So based on what people hold dear to their heart in that particular part of India, that particular New Year which throws light on those aspects, that became popular, and that basically remained. So you go to different parts of India, they celebrate different New Year. So what I want you to think is, you see a lot of such contradictions. If you look at the culture, Hindu culture, Indian culture, you will see a lot of contradictions. Try to understand it from the point of view of who's right, who's wrong. Try to understand it from the point of view of, okay, they are doing different things, but they must be slightly different things. What could it be? If you think along those lines, you will be able to make much better sense. There are a lot of things in the tradition. You just have to think, apply your brain, and then you will have the answer. I'm not 100% sure, but Pisces is the sign, it's the 12th house. And it's a sign of Maharishi, and also is a sign of bliss, happiness, tranquility. So if you want tranquility, Pisces is the sign. Whereas if you want aggression, do all the things that you have to do, efficiency, then Aries would have been the beginning. But if you talk about tranquility, peace, Pisces is the sign. Okay. And if you talk about all the rains properly coming, clouds, good rain so that crops will come up. Cancer is supposed to be the sign. All the rivers flowing properly, all the reservoirs being full. So that it's not Pisces, it is Cancer that is the sign. And Libra is business, how business is happening. Do people feel good about the price they are getting for what they are selling, or people are unhappy? They have to sell things for a bad price. So for all those things, it is Libra. Okay? So let's go back. So like this, there is a Kartika Shukla Pratipada chart which comes in October or November that throws light on the financial market. And you can use Vinchoti Dasha by the way with this. And that is what I used in whatever little stock predictions I made in the past. That is what I used. Okay. For a particular company or index, then take the birthplace of the index. Okay, now let's go back to the lunar new year chart. Are there any, we covered all the salient points. Does anybody want to add anything to this?
Did you make anybody in the stock market just donate to SPC Center?
I don't advertise. Any other point? Yes. Okay, Vimshotri Dasha. The only point you have to remember is, in my experience, if you compress the Vimshotri Dasha to 1 year, it is applicable in this chart. The only trick being, Vimshotri is not the only Dasha. For human beings, we give predominance to Vimshotri Dasha from moon. But here, you have all these competitors like Visapta Dasamadasha, Chaturasri Dasamadasha. You have to see which is more appropriate. If you find the 10th Lord in the 10th house, use Chaturasri Dasamadasha directly. If you have the Lagna Lord in the 7th house, or the 7th Lord in Lagna, use Visapta Dasamadasha. If you have Sun in Lagna, use Shakti-Saini Dasha. If you have Lagna in Vargottama, use Shatabdika Dasha. So like that, the conditional dashas that are applicable when certain conditions apply, do use them. Don't stick to Vimshotri. Another point is, when you start the Vimshotri Dasha, we start from the nakshatra or the star, the constellation occupied by moon. But like I told you earlier, there are variations based on the 4th star from it, 5th star from it, and the 8th star from it. They are called Kshema Vimshotri, Adhana Vimshotri, and Kshema Vimshotri, Utpanna Vimshotri, and Adhana Vimshotri. 4, 5, and 8. So instead of dash star, you start from the 4th or 5th or 8th star. Those dashas, they have limited role in natal horoscopy. If you are looking at individual people and their charts, they have a limited role. Only when that particular star is much stronger, then you use that. But in the case of nation, when you are looking at nation, you are looking at mundane charts, feel free to use all those. It's not just the normal Janma Vimshotri, normal moon Vimshotri. So you have to see which is stronger. So let me do that. Do Vimshotri, see strength, comparison, health. From moon, the number of planets in Kendras is 3. From Utpanna it is 4. From Kshema it is 1. From Adhana it is 3. From Lagna it is 4. So which are strong? Lagna and Utpanna are 4 each. They are better than moon. So you should use one of the two. And which one? The next criterion is if Jupiter is in a quadrant, that is auspicious. Here Jupiter is in the 4th house, it is in a quadrant. Whereas Utpanna, that also has 4, where is Jupiter? It is in the 7th house. So both the cases, Jupiter is in a quadrant. So it's a tough pick. You can pick either Adhana or you can pick Lagna. You can pick Adhana Tara or Lagna Tara. Pardon me? Both cases Rahu is also there. So it doesn't make a difference. So we are actually in a problem. We don't know if Lagna is better or Adhana is better. And when you are not sure, give preference to moon. If not moon, give preference to Lagna. And then come to these artificial nakshatras. So let's just use Lagna Vimshotri. So rather than starting it from moon, let us use the Lagna Vimshotri.
Another question on this chart.
Yes.
Is the moon in the first house of the year wrong? The first lord in 8th house of the year in aspect of the Integrated Peripatetic Vedic Astrology.
12th Lord in the 8th.
It's not important.
Yeah, 12th Lord in 8th. There is Viprit Raj Yoga, but he is in Manakarka Sthana. In such a case, it will hardly give any result. But there will be some sudden unexpected gains also during the year. But they will be very minimal. If it is some other planet, it is better. Because it is Moon who is in Manakarka Sthana, it's not so good. Similarly, if Venus is, let's say, the 12th Lord and he is in the 6th house, it's not so good. Even though he gives Viprit Raj Yoga, it's very, very minimal. The fact that he is in Manakarka Sthana takes dominance over the fact that he is giving Viprit Raj Yoga. Anyway, so coming back to the Dacha, instead of using the normal Vimshottari, use the Lagna Vimshottari. What is the Dacha that was running at that time? Okay, Lagna is in Vargotama? No, okay, so this is the one. What is the Dacha? Rahu Dacha was running at the time of the hurricane. Is Rahu a Maraka? Does it show that? We discussed it earlier. Yeah. We aspected it, not aspected it. We saw it earlier.
Good aspect.
But it is from the Rudransha.
Yeah. Rudransha is the one that shows destruction. You can look at Rashi and you can look at the destruction. You can look at the Rudransha. You can look at both. Even in Rashi, Jupiter is afflicting the 8th Lord. See, Jupiter is Maraka. For me, yeah, he is the 7th Lord. Even in the Rashi. See, who is the 7th Lord? Rahu. Rahu and Shani both are the 7th Lord. Who is stronger? Shani is alone. Rahu is with Jupiter. So, who is the stronger Lord of Aquarius in this chart? Rahu. And who is he with? With the 8th Lord. If 7th and 8th Lords are together, is it pretty? No. 7th and 8th Lord together is a bad combination. It's a combination of death. And again, they are in a Vati sign. And especially Jupiter Rahu is very bad. When Rahu is with Jupiter, he just hammers on Jupiter. I'm pushing too hard. But he's more harder. So, when Rahu is with Jupiter, Jupiter is hammered. So, the 8th house Lord of longevity is being hammered by the 7th Lord who wants to remove the longevity. So, he gives that. So, actually, if you see this in a person's Sthiti Pravesha chart, lunar return chart, you should be very careful. You see something like this, you should definitely tell him to do, either prepare the children or prepare wife, etc. That life is not permanent, everybody has to go like that. Build some philosophy, because otherwise it will be a shock. Tell them, Jatasya Maranam Dhava. Everybody who is born has to eventually die. So, either prepare them mentally, or if that's not possible, if you think that those people have to try their best, tell them to do Mrityunjaya Homam, all those things. So, you should be very careful if you see a combination like this in a person's preparation. Yeah.
Let us see the chart, the person's chart.
Yeah.
The 7th and the 8th Lord are some of the fast moving planets.
Yeah.
Sun, Mercury,
Yeah.
Moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Sun and Moon come together. Ideally, take Sun and Moon cannot be, Sun and Moon can be the 7th and 8th Lord, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have Makara Lagna,
Makara.
right?
Yeah.
When Sun and Moon come together every Amavasya.
Yeah. I'm not saying in the natal chart take 7th and 8th Lord, whenever they are together in transit it is bad. I'm not saying that. And actually even regarding that I have a point. They come together very fast, but also they separate very fast. So if you look at the probability, you take any random day, the probability that they are together, it will basically be similar. Compared to Jupiter Saturn, even with Sun and Moon it will be similar. Because Jupiter Saturn take a long time to come, but when they come they are together for a long time. Moon and Sun take very quick time, but they are together quick also. They separate quick also. So probability wise it will be the same, but the point is I am not saying look for that. What I am saying is there is a chart called Sthiti Pravesha chart. So for the year when the Tithi of your birth returns, the lunar day when you are born returns every year, it happens around your birthday, the normal birthday, a few days plus or minus. So when that happens, you make a chart on that day and you see how the next 1 year is going to be for the person. In that chart, if you see this combination, 7th and 8th Lord together, that is Jupiter and Rahu, then you should caution that there is a possibility of either death or if the Margadasha is not running based on the birth chart, even if a year shows death, maybe it's not death, maybe it's a big shock, a death-like suffering during that year. But that is really terrible. Anyway, coming back to the mundane chart, this is not a human being chart, this is a country's chart. So country doesn't die, but there is some big big death toll in the country, a big disaster.
But when you say big death-like experience or death in the country,
Yeah.
it could be for the political class,
Yeah.
it could be for the masses,
Yeah.
or it could happen in a forest where some big earthquake happens but nobody is there.
Yeah.
Human beings are
It
not.
can be anything, but the fact that if it happens in a forest and nobody dies, people will not really think of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if there is a hurricane and 1,000 people die somewhere, or if there is a terrorist attack and 3,000 people die, people think of, oh my God, so many people died. For all you know, if you look at every day how many people are dying in the country, that number may actually be bigger than this number. For all you know. So still, that doesn't govern the perceptions of people. As far as people are concerned, as far as the collective consciousness of people is concerned, 10,000 deaths that happen in various parts of the country today, they don't mean anything. But 3,000 deaths that happened in New York, they mean a lot. The collective consciousness of the country is pained by that. So that is why that will be seen in the chart. The other thing will not be seen in the chart. Okay? Oh, that's a good question. Technically, animals and various beings that are in the country are also supposed to be seen by the country's chart. So if you had a big disaster in which a lot of pigs died or a lot of horses died, that should also be visible. That is also supposed to be visible. There are some guidelines in tradition for seeing various. Right. You are right. Absolutely right. Right. You are absolutely right. If a lot of animals were destroyed, that may also be seen. And to see various animals in the chart, there are various criteria. But I am not really an expert in that. So I will stick to human beings for now.
That's what I thought you was kind of the mind of human.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing this particular chart, I would think it's more the people's minds that we.
Right. You are looking at people's minds. But if people's minds are affected by some tragedy in which, let's say, there was let's say, protected species, and let's say there were 100 rare animals in some forest. There was a fire and those 100 animals died, let's say. It will affect the collective consciousness of the country. So you will be able to see that in this particular case. So you may see that the karaka for that particular animal. Let's say that animal is a lot of pigs, let's say, a special kind of pig, a special kind of bird. Sun is the karaka for bird. So maybe sun has some bad significance in the chart, and in the particular dasha, that thing can happen. But again, these are tough to predict. Once it happens, you can justify it. Because for sun there are so many significations. For moon there are so many significations. So these are tough to predict, but you can do research on these. There are guidelines.
I wanted to mention one point, picking up on Sriram's point.
Yeah.
It's more of the karaka for the collective consciousness and it's primarily focused on the people of the society.
Yeah, consciousness of the mind.
So if the 7th and the 8th plot
Yeah.
come together
Yeah.
or have some, and especially have an influence on moon,
Yeah.
then it's more probable that...
No, it only shows that mind is perceiving a lot of death and destruction and mind is unhappy. It doesn't mean only people are dying. Nobody may be dying also, but there may be some other kind of destruction. A big building may be destroyed by terrorists. Luckily, nobody may be there in that building that day. Maybe White House is empty. There is an attack and let's say they empty something and then something happens. Still it will affect the collective consciousness of people. It will feel like some death happened, even though nobody really died. So you will be able to see it. But the point I want to make is, if you want to see how animals feel, it doesn't show. Further, there may be other dasha. Actually, if you make a chart of a cow, for example, or let's say you make the chart of a cat, or let's say you make the chart of a dog, you are not. This Vimshotri dasha is unlikely to apply. Why? Chart does apply. Not this chart, I am talking about birth chart now.
Right.
Suppose you know the time when a cat was born, or when a dog was born. Make the chart for the dog. And then you can predict how the dog's health will be, how the dog will do, when it will find a partner. You can do all those things. But the dasha, how many kids, but some principles may be different, but basic principles are the same. Because it's the same Kalapurusha, same Paramapurusha who manifests in various beings. Whether it's a cat or dog or human being. You are not much different. Slightly better. So,
In fact, I thought our belief is that we've gone through all those 80,000 lives before we reach the
yeah, we may go back also.
We will go back home.
We can keep jumping back and forth. One life, you can be a human being. Next life, you can be a dog. Again, you can be a human being. That's also possible according to Shastra. Actually, you are supposed to be able to, but it's very tough. To see the past life, like I said in my previous class, there is a chart. And there, to see the yoni, that means to see what kind of birth you had, which animal you were. There are some principles, but that needs seconds of accuracy in the time. We are unlikely to get that anywhere. So that's only speculative study. There are some things in the tradition, but they are speculative. But what you can see in the current life chart, forget the past life, in the current life chart, one thing you can see is, in the Navamsha chart, if you take moon, if you take Pranapada Lagna, there is something called Pranapada Lagna. It's shown as PP in the software. So if you take the Navamsha chart, see PP there, where is it? Yeah, it's in 5C. Moon is supposed to be in a trine from it, either trine or 7th. So from PP, moon has to be in the 5th house or 7th house or 9th house, or in PP itself. Then it's a human being. Otherwise, it's not a human being. So that is the criterion for human being. Whereas if it is a bird, it has to be sun. If it is fish, it has to be Ketu. If it is dog, can anybody guess for dog? Yeah? Excellent guess. Shani. If it is a dog, it is Saturn. Like that, there are karakas for various. Moon is the karaka for human being, but for various other animals, there are other karakas. So if you get, somebody gives you a chart of a bird, he says, the bird came out of egg at this time, so this is the birth chart. Can you say something about my bird? Then, first of all, the time may be inaccurate. So look at PP, Pranapada Lagna. See if sun is in a trine from it or in the 7th. First, 5th, 7th and 9th house from Pranapada Lagna in Navamsha. If he is not, maybe this is wrong. But the thing with Pranapada Lagna is it moves very, very fast. You just change it by a few seconds, it changes sign. Not few seconds, but order of half minute like that. Pardon me? I don't remember. I think especially, I think the fact is like 1/15 or something compared to Lagna. I don't think. You can check. I may be wrong. I don't remember. But it's very quick. Changes very quickly in Navamsha. So I'll take your question after I finish my stream of thought. So, similarly, if you see the chart of a fish, you expect Ketu to be in a trine. And if you see a human being, you expect moon to be in a trine from Pranapada Lagna. So, there are even more guidelines, because there will not be one planet, there will be several planets in trine. So, which birth is it out of those? Sun and moon may be in a trine from Pranapada Lagna, so it can be a bird or a human being. As a matter of fact, moon shows various things also. Sun shows various things. So it's a very complicated subject, and I know only the tip of the iceberg. But this is basically the principle for current life. If you want to see the past life, like she asked, whether somebody was a dog or something in the past life, you go to Shashamsha and you do similar things, but that is extremely unreliable. So it's highly speculative. You can't really make any predictions like based on it. You can't say anything that's reliable, so just forget it. So the point I wanted to make was, when you find the dasha, we are giving a lot of importance to moon nakshatra here. All these dashas, nakshatra dashas are based on the nakshatra of moon. And moon is mind. Moon is the karaka for human beings. Human beings are mind-strong people. We are governed by our mind. Now if you take some other animals, they are governed by some other planet. So for all you know, it is possible that these nakshatra dashas don't apply. Even if you compress it to the Paramayish, if you take a dog for example, it may not be expected to live on average for 120 years. It may be something else. Actually, if you read Varahmihila, there are Paramayish of various animals given. So you can find out the Paramayish. So you can compress the dashas from 120 years to that duration. You can do that. But what I am saying is, this Vinchotri may not be applicable. It may be based on nakshatra or something else. So looking at a dog, maybe Shani nakshatra is more important. Or maybe it's not even nakshatra. Shani Punshamsa may be more important. For moon, maybe it's nakshatra. For sun, maybe it is Rashi. For Shani, it may be some other division like Punshamsa. Shani may be the ruler of the division of zodiac into Punshamsa. So maybe based on Shani Punshamsa, there is a Punshamsa dasha, like nakshatra dasha. So all these are just thoughts I am throwing at you. The bottom line is, you don't know what to do. When a Rishi comes, and because Rishis have great intellect, when they think They think beyond this. I am able to think a little bit. You are able to think a little bit. Rishis will be able to think much more, and they will be able to come up with answers. So when a Rishi comes, you can ask him questions. So until then, stay away from things that are suspicious, things that don't have a logical basis. Stay away from them. So if you see a dog, again use this deprivation. Maybe, hopefully that is reasonable. Maybe not. We don't know. But hopefully people won't ask you about dogs. Actually, I'll take Iris question and then you. You're done? Oh, yeah, you're done. Yeah, you're done, yeah. Okay.
Like I know that when there are a lot of fires in California, and mostly it's animals that die. But they would show up in the market on
Yeah, but we are not good enough to see them clearly.
fires in the,
Yeah. You will be able to see that there is some destruction in the fire, but to see these animals are dead, it's very difficult. We are not that good. We can justify after we know. But if, in order to predict, if we can predict human beings' fortunes, we are doing okay. Kiran? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, very good point. Very good point. When there is a parivartana, like I said earlier, up to some point of time, Jupiter will act as though he is actually Jupiter. After some time, he will start acting as though he is Mars. Yeah. Yeah. See, I can't really give you any guideline, but remember that the Jupiter is Jupiter, but he also behaves as though he is Mars. So, if you don't get the timing right, that's fine. But you can give some qualities of Mars to the Jupiter. Jupiter will act as though he is Mars. And if you are looking at the dashas for timing, for all you know, Jupiter there, during Mars dasha, Jupiter results may be given. Or Jupiter dasha, Mars results may be given. So, if you are looking at the dashas, you have to be careful. But the thing is, whether it is Mars or Jupiter, they are unlikely to exchange the result with Rahu anyway. So Rahu is likely to give the result in Rahu dasha, Rahu's result. So you don't have confusion. But the thing is, there may be some other results that you ascribe to Jupiter or Mars, and your timing may be wrong because they are exchanging the result. It's very tough. There are no thumb rules for deciding that.
Is it because it's Oriental or Occidental? Because the timing may come before or after, or from the ascendant that it might come before or after? And in some astrologies they say when it's more Oriental it happens early, and when it's Occidental it happens very late.
I'm not sure if such a distinction exists in our tradition. I'm not sure. Yes, you had a question.
Yes, I wondered particularly with respect to animals.
Yeah.
Would animals be impacted more by planets like, let's say, Mercury and Venus, which have rapid movement relative to us, our perspective?
I'm not really sure. I can't give you any good answer.
The reason I ask, for instance, Native Americans commonly across the country would ask forgiveness of a bear for having to kill it to use it for food. And if they do this assiduously, then they could continue to be successful hunting. But if they don't respect the bear and don't give it this respect for its life, then they are likely to be less successful hunting. So it seems to me that they're detecting something like what you seem to be detecting. They seem to be detecting some sort of, I'm not talking about now because we've lost a lot of these skills. I'm saying past skills.
Right.
For instance, Pastor Conway, who lived about your 120 years, would walk around in the woods from Maine to here as a very old man, in his hundreds, where he was known as the son of the bear. Bears were dangerous animals. Mountain lions were here, were dangerous. Wolves were here and were dangerous. prominent Maine Indian in the 1800s, early 1800s, conducted a vendetta against wolves because one killed his son. Took it from his wife and killed it and devoured it. So it seems that there's an awareness very close to what awareness is good feeling and bad feeling, what we would say as Native Americans. We would say there are areas of Vermont where we would advise people to stay away from. Seems to match what you're saying about India. Areas where people with a vision would congregate and conduct aggressive business. And other areas where people of goodwill and faith and spirituality would go to feel good. We'd say there are good feeling places and bad feeling places. You seem to be very successful in detecting that and categorizing.
Okay.
And that is
I'll just say a couple of words on that. See, the thing is, when you are killing a particular animal and eating it, you said that the practice was to ask it for forgiveness. Basically, some ritual where you are showing your genuine feelings of being sorry for doing it. The belief in our tradition is, where it is somebody, Seshu or Prasad or me or an animal or a bear or a cat or a dog, whichever it is, it's basically the same consciousness that is permeating all these. So when you hurt somebody, when you hurt a bear, you are hurting the collective consciousness of the universe. It is basically God. But that is that you are not doing anything wrong if you look at it one way. But if you look at it another way, you are doing something wrong. So at least if you ask for forgiveness, you are at least making the wrong a little less wrong. So it sounds like a good practice, but that is a moral thing. So I will not comment on the moral aspect of it. Let me comment on the astrological aspect. Some people may be prone to problems from one particular animal, whereas for some people, they may be living with lions all the time, but no problem. Lions never harm, maybe. And somebody may be, even a small pig may be able to hurt him. So to see that, there are some criteria given in classics about what kind of animals can give you problems. So the rules are, like I said, different animals are associated with different planets. So if your marka, for example, is Shani, Saturn is a marka in your chart, it's a good idea to stay away from dogs. Even if it's your own dog, even if you are normally friendly with it, one day it can hurt you, because the consciousness, the collective consciousness is divided into various consciousnesses of planets, and similarly various consciousness of people, various animals, etc. It is actually the same Brahman, as we call, or they say Allah in Islam. The same, or Holy Spirit, whatever you call it, is the same spirit which has no manifestation, no attributes, that permeates the whole universe. But it also manifests in a tangible way as various gods, various people, various animals, etc. And when it has a manifestation, there are attributes. When God has no manifestation, when He is unmanifest, He has no attributes, no guna, as we say. But when He manifests, all of us are manifestations. There are gunas. And to study those gunas, those attributes, we have all these planets, signs, etc. So, Saturn is a manifestation which manifests within us as the ability to work hard, as our discipline. And it manifests also as dog. That quality is stronger in dog. So he is an important planet for dog. So when Saturn hurts you, it can hurt you through somebody who has a strong Saturn in the horoscope, or it can be somebody who's Saturn-like in quality, or it can also be a dog. Suppose you have Jupiter being your marka. Suppose Jupiter is 7th Lord in the 8th house in your horoscope. Better stay away from elephants. Not that we normally go and play with elephants every day, but maybe you are born in a Mahout family, a family that controls elephants. Maybe your father, your grandfather, up to 7 generations lived with elephants and they controlled elephants for kings or for temple festivals in India. Still, if Jupiter is a marka in your chart, better stay away from elephants, even though that is that is the family tradition. Stay away, because one day you will die because of an elephant, or you will have a death-like suffering because of an elephant. So like that, let me take an example. Actually, there is a story. Varahamihira, the great, I think Christopher Reed, yeah. Varahamihira, the great astrologer, he saw the chart of a king. There was a king in whose court he used to work. and he had great reputation. And when the child was born, Varahamihira saw the horoscope and said, so and so year, in so and so year, he is going to, on so and so day, at so and so time, this child is going to die. And because of a boar, because of a pig. And then the king said, okay, I'll make sure that it doesn't happen. So, after certain age, the prince was expected to go to the forest and do certain things, particular age. So he said he will do it earlier. So they did it 1 year earlier. So in that particular year, throughout the year, he kept him in a big palace in the 4th floor or 5th floor, a very high floor, so that no boar can actually reach that place. Because you have to take stairs, no elevators in those days. So they kept him there, and on that day, everybody was downstairs and everybody had their dinner, and the time passed, and then they wanted to go and check. When they went and checked, he lay dead, because there was a big boar picture that was hanging on the, not boar head that was hanging on the wall, that they forgot to remove. That was part of the decoration. And at that time, the window was open and a lot of wind suddenly came that fell on his chest, and those horns basically killed him. This is a legend. I don't know if it is story, but it is mentioned in a lot of books. This is a legend about Varahamihira. His original name was Mihira. After this story, he became Varahamihira. Until then, he was known as Mihira. Varaha means a boar. So that is a story. But let's look at a real chart. If you see, let us see. Yeah. Elephant? Yeah. Okay. Now the thing is, if you have the chart, we can see. If the elephant cause some harm to the person, definitely Jupiter has something to do. That we have to study. You understand? Now, let us see this chart. This person, this chart belongs to Christopher Reeve. And with this we will end. Next class we will continue the discussion. The birth data is September 25, 1952, 3:12 a.m. The place is Manhattan. The time zone is 4 hours west of GMT. The place is 73 degrees 58 minutes west, 40 degrees 47 minutes north. So this chart belongs to Christopher Reeve, the Superman, the actor who played the role of Superman. So if you look at his chart, who are the markas? For me? Yeah. Okay, which chart do you want to see? Yeah. Let's see the Rashi chart first.
I don't know the purpose you think this chart out. Is it to show how animal affected him?
Yes. That's the purpose. We'll come to that. He didn't die right away, I know that. It's not death, yeah.
Yes.
Any other, yes. But an animal made a big difference in his life. Yes. Now, what is the chart in which you see punishment for suffering, punishment for bad things that you do, punishment for your evil? Rudramsa is death and destruction. Shiva's Rudra basically is striking you. But you want to see some big disaster that happened. What is the chart? D? Repeat. How can you say? D20 is the chart of spirituality.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm talking about a disaster or suffering on account of your bad karma. D30. The clue would be the chart that I have opened here. This is the seed of all that happens. Any suffering that you go through is because some evil that you have done. Yeah, we'll start with Rashi also. For me? D6 also you can see. Yeah. D30 is a high level chart. But if you are seeing any big mishap, this is a very important chart. D30 is a very important chart. We can start with D6 also. As a matter of fact, we can start with the Rashi chart. Okay? Now, look at the Rashi chart first. Are there any significant features here? Who are the Marakas? Sun and Saturn. Where are they? Both of them, the Sun and Saturn, the Marakas, are with Mercury. And this is the 7th from Aroha Lagna. So this can show some big problem. And another thing, there is a Shapa here. Do you see a curse? Actually, I don't think I mentioned it. If two malefics have Graha Drishti on Jupiter, it is Brahmana Shapa Yoga. If two malefics have a Graha Drishti on Jupiter, it is Brahmana Shapa. That I mentioned. Huh? Two or more. Yeah, two or more. Always when I say two, more is merrier. Any bad thing or good thing. And if you have two or more malefics aspecting Sun, aspecting or conjoining Sun, and also 9th house and 9th lord having malefic associations, it is Pitrishapa. That means Karta of father. Similarly, Moon and 4th house and 4th lord, that is Matrashapa. This means mother's curse. This means you hurt somebody in your past life, you made them angry, you made them sad. Because of that, you will get some punishment in this life. So that is basically seen from the Shapa Yoga. And similarly, if Mercury is with two malefics, is with or aspected by two or more malefics, it is a yoga called Masula Shapa Yoga. Mercury shows the uncle, the maternal uncle is shown by Mercury. So Masula Shapa means maternal uncle's wrath. You were cursed by your maternal uncle. Curse doesn't mean he cursed you, oh idiot, he didn't use any efforts or any such expletive. What it means is he was unhappy with you, or he was sad with you, or he was angry with you. And because of that, you are going to suffer in this life. If you make somebody unhappy or sad, that is enough. That is a Shapa. That will come in your next life as a Shapa. If it is really big, then it will show up as a yoga in this chart. So here, look at Mercury. He is with Sun, a malefic, Saturn, another malefic, and Rahu has Grahadrishti on him, 9th aspect. So there are 3 malefics. So he made his uncle very unhappy man. And actually there is a specific dictum. If Rahu is aspecting, you cheated him. Maybe you cheated or not, he felt cheated. Rahu showed shock. He felt shocked. If Saturn is involved, he felt unhappy. He felt very sad. If Sun was involved, his ego was hurt. So that is the least important. Sun is a malefic, but not as important. And if Mars is involved, he was angry. So Mars shows anger, Rahu shows shock, Saturn shows sadness, and Sun shows ego was hurt. So here, what did he do to his uncle in the past life? He hurt the ego of his uncle. He made the uncle very sad, and uncle felt as if he was deceived. He was cheated. So but he wasn't very angry. He was only sad. Mars is not there. So this yoga is there. When Mercury has that kind of Shapa, Mercury is basically beaten down by the Shapa. So he has to, either Mercury or Saturn or Rahu, they have to give the result of the Shapa when the corresponding Dasha comes. So keep that in mind. That is one thing. And second thing, if you look at and also like we said, from Aroha Lagna he is a Maraka, so he can destroy. So materially, his material existence can be troubled by Mercury. Now see and also he is with Marakas from Lagna also. Sun and Saturn are the Marakas from Lagna, 2nd and 7th lord. Both are with Mercury, in Mercury's own house. He is the landlord, he is with them. It is like you are living in somebody's house, he also comes and stays with you. So he is very possessive and he is very controlling. He takes control over whatever you guys are doing. For the status, for the material existence, for the body. Yes. Yes. It's resource, and when resources are weak, that's death. So the same planet who gives food to you can also kill you by depriving you of food. So he can do both. By making you such that you can't take food anymore. He can do both when he is strong or weak. Now look at the Shashtanta, the chart that Seshu wanted to see. Yes.
Common ground. If it's weak, it becomes positive. If it's good, it becomes good.
Again, it depends on the agenda.
Okay.
If he wants to give you food, if he is strong, he will give you food. If he wants to kill you, if let's say 7th lord is in 2nd house, his agenda is to kill you. So if he is strong, then he will actually kill you. So depending, Whether strength of the planet in second is good or bad, that depends on the agenda of the planet. See what the planet wants, which house it wants.
Just example.
Yeah.
Seventh house is both desire plus Marka.
Yes.
Yes. Seven is supposed to propel your desires. If it's strong, you can actually give you more desires. And
Yes. You can give you desires also.
So you can't, just because he's in seventh house sitting in second,
Right.
and he's weak, you can't just say he's a national.
I completely agree. And basically now, I'm going one level above, along with second house, being placed in second house, I'm looking at which house he owns. But again, that ownership also, he can have different agendas relating to that house. Very tough to judge, very tough to judge. So, thumb rule, seventh lord, he wants to kill you. Ninth lord, because we are looking at second house, how we are looking at matters related to death. Suppose we are looking at 10th house, career. Seventh lord is in 10th house. Then we will interpret the 7th house to mean the house of desire. So the planet owning the house of desire is in your 10th house. So the planet who is told to influence your karma is carrying a strong desire. So maybe you will be a businessman. So like that various meanings of a house. You take something that's relevant to the house where he is placed in. But again, it's not very easy. There are so many other things that go into it. You have to look at the vargas the planet occupies, the Kinchamcha, Satyamcha. If you want to do perfect analysis, you have to be a Rishi. So let's do approximate analysis. So when you do approximate, you have to stop somewhere. You do first order or second order or third order or fourth order. You stop at some order. You can't do infinite order. For that you have to be a Rishi. So let's approximate. I agree that it's approximate. Yeah. Yeah.
That means, of course, I understand what he's talking about, the great discussions now. But there has to be a process in the age which actually reach that level of insight.
So you want to be a Rishi. Yeah, good. Good goal. Worthy goal. Worthy goal. Good luck. Any other? Yes, your question. For me? Third house? No, it's not. But Marakas are there. Second Lord Sun and seventh Lord Shani, they are both in that house. Yeah. Third house is supposed to give vitality. But if the second and seventh Lord who want to rob of vitality and kill you are in that house, so Mercury is in a house. His job is to give vitality to this guy. So Sun and Saturn came and beat down on him. Let's kill him, let's kill him, let's kill him, let's kill him, let's. So when they keep saying it, and remember, Mercury takes the nature of whoever he is. Even though he is the ruler of the house, he is the landlord, he will say, oh, should we do that? Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Or if Jupiter comes and says, no, let's protect him. Let's give him Vedic knowledge. He will say, yeah, good idea, let's do that. So that's how Mercury is. He is highly effective. So that Mercury is with Sun and Saturn here. Both are Markas. And they are at odds with each other. They can't decide how to kill. Sun says, kill this way, Saturn says, kill this way, they are fighting. And Mercury is in between. So he doesn't think of anything else apart from killing now. So that way Mercury is a bad planet. He has a curse. He is carrying a curse from uncle from the past life. And he is with Marakas, he is in bad company. So he can do something that kills or close to killing. Now see the Shashtamsha, because Shashtamsha is enemies or unexpected external happenings, not internal but external happenings. So for that, if you see this, who are the Marakas here? Let's just concentrate on Mercury because I want to show the importance of Mercury here. Is Mercury good or bad here? He is the seventh lord of Marakasthana and sitting in the house of protection. The killer is sitting in protection and he is with the sixth lord Sun who shows accident and A6. A6 is what is A6? Tangible accident. Sixth house is struggle. But when I say struggle, you can't see it. It's intangible. But if you say an accident, you fell down from a horse, it's tangible. Arudhas show tangible things. All these A6, A9, they show tangible things, whereas houses themselves show intangible. So, this A6 will show a tangible accident. So, Mercury is in the house of accident in the chart that shows accidents, litigation, quarrels, fights, etc. And in Trimshamsha, this is inherent subconscious suffering. All the subconscious evils and subconscious suffering. So this is the root of everything. Whatever good or bad happens to you has a subconscious reason within you. Even if a horse comes and does something to you, it's because subconsciously you are prone to you have certain weakness and you are prone to some bad things happening to you. And the subconscious, the consciousness that connects you and the heart, basically makes the heart act in such a way that from now onwards your life has changed. So if you look at the Trimshamsa, if you look at any suffering, look at Trimshamsa. Trimshamsa, how is Mercury? Is he a Maraka or not? He is Maraka. He is 8th Lord. In the 11th house of Harasthana. And A6 is there, but like I said, in the chart of subconscious existence, let's forget the order. We don't know the meaning. So we have roughly seen all the charts. Mercury is in general not a good planet. So is horse riding a good thing for this person? No, elephant riding is better. Oh yeah. Mercury and Venus are the significant of horse. Yeah. Yes, Lagna itself is pain. So 8th house itself is not longevity here. It's basically problem to the longevity. Weakness in the longevity. That is why even though Mercury is not 7th Lord but 8th Lord, we are guessing that way. You are right. But forget all that. Even without Trimshamsa, Rashi and Shashtamsa we have already seen. So in general, Mercury is showing some bad indications for this person. So he should stay away from horses. Similarly, if you see a chart in which Jupiter is having some curses or associating with Marakas, showing some accidents in Shashtamsa, you should tell that person not to climb an elephant or go within 1 mile from an elephant. Stay away from elephant. This is better. Maybe. For all you know, there could just be a legend also. But is that right? Yeah. It's good, but if Jupiter is a bad planet for you and you are running a corresponding dasha, if Jupiter is a killer planet in your chart and also a corresponding dasha is running, a period that's conducive to some accidents is running, you should really be careful. And similarly, if Mercury is the planet, stay away from horses. And if Moon is the planet, stay away from people. I'm just kidding.
The accident happens during the moon Mahadasha.
Okay.
And so that's when Cancer system is.
Why are you using Lagna Dasha? This is Lagna Vinchatri.
Oh,
Yeah. It happened in Sun Dasha. Is that right? Sun Rahu or Sun Jupiter, some Sun Dasha. 94? Okay, definitely 94 or I remember 95. But it is Sun Dasha for sure. 93 to 99 is Sun Mahadasha. It happened in Sun Mahadasha. Pardon me? Sun, if you see in Shashtamsa, Sun is with Mercury. Sun gives Mercury figures. In Trimshamsa again, Mercury is with Sun gives Mercury figures. And Rashi also he is Marka. And he is the Lord of A6. See, Lord of A6. And the Sun gives his own result here. You have Mercury, Sun and Saturn. If you arrange them in the order of beneficence, Mercury is the most beneficent, Sun is the next, Saturn is the worst. So the first and last will explain the result. So Mercury will give Saturn results, Saturn will give Mercury results, and Sun will give his own results. So in Rashi chart, he will give the result of second lord and third, basically death. And A6 lord, accident, a tangible accident, not just suffering. If it is 6th lord, he will give suffering, but not necessarily accident. But if it is A6, it is an accident. It is a tangible manifestation of the suffering. There is something that people can see and say, oh, he is suffering. So that is A6. That is the difference between 6th house and Arudha of the 6th house. So Sandasha gave it. So with that actually I want to leave. We have taken long. So I'll just take one question and then I will leave for today. So we actually covered a whole gamut. I don't know what Seshu will call this lesson in the archive. What he named. It is a challenge to his creativity. So what we covered is we did a little bit about the mundane chart, we did a little bit about various calendars, and then we went into animals for some reason. And then we did. Yes.
You can call it hurricanes and horses.
So in the next class we will take up bush chart, how the next year is going to be for bush. That was the other homework you had. So luckily you got a reply. So try to do it for the next class. We will take up bush chart, how it is next year, and then we will go from normal human being chart, because that's what we are good at. So let's focus on that from the next class. So with that I will end, but I will take one question.
Yes, my concern was, let's say, looking at this from the point of view of a Bengal tiger or a mountain lion in California. can we look at it from, to get back to the bear's point of view?
Yeah, yeah.
You've got a serious problem in India now with Bengal tigers killing and devouring children who are blameless, they're innocent. So can we detect by looking at it from the point of view of the cat, whether it's California or India, and see that there's something that needs to be avoided and can be avoided? We don't put the cat in a position where it has to be aggressive to survive.
Right. Right, like I said, what is the significator for big cat, tigers? Rahu is the significator. So if you see somebody, if some kid has Rahu as marka, maybe he should stay away from tiger, the area that is infested with tigers. And maybe even India as a country, if it are a particular state, if you look at the state chart, when the states were reorganized, or if you look at the chart of a particular town in California, if you see Rahu being a marka, maybe there will be some deaths relating to Rahu, which can mean lot of ways, but one of them is tigers, boars, etc. In order to distinguish cats also, small cats also can kill. Yeah. Right. They can give you some virus and then can die. So you can look at it that way. Similarly, if in a country, but now the question is what to do about it.
Yes.
Like you said,
Yes.
what to do about it. You can basically pray to the collective consciousness. You can have some ritual that means something to you. So Indians have some ritual. In India, what we do is, if it is an elephant, it is Jupiter, so we link it to a planet. So we pray to Jupiter. Or we also link it to God. So Jupiter is a marker for you. And you see, the person has to work with elephants every day, let's say, he works at a circus. So he better worship Jupiter every day, and Jupiter shows a particular god. So we pray to that god, we pray to Samashiva, or Jagannatha, we pray to that particular god. Or let's say Rahu in a case, let's say lion or tiger is a problem in a case, and the person works at a circus with tigers. So there is a chance of being hurt, even though he works every day, there is a chance of being hurt. In that case, the person will be advised to pray to Rahu every day, or Durga, who is the goddess corresponding to that. So the Asian Indians had a sophisticated way of knowing which animals you have to be careful with, and doing some special rituals that were connected to, because we had various gods, connecting various forms of gods with various forms of animals, and also various forms of people, various kinds of people, and connect and detect the problem and propitiate those gods. That is one way. And from what you are saying, it sounds like American Indians also had their own ritual of doing something for bear, something for buffalo, something for this. So again, they had their own ritual, and again that can affect. It is affecting your consciousness. If you do something, and if your consciousness feels that because of it, the effect is going to be less on you. The collective consciousness also has, everything is linked, your consciousness of the animal that's dying, consciousness of the whole universe, it is all linked. And all these propitiations, rituals, they may seem like superstitions to some people. But we don't really know, actually we don't know even 0.001% of how this collective consciousness works. When an animal is dying, when it goes through the pain, how that affects the collective consciousness of the universe, and how that affects your consciousness going forward. We don't have an iota of understanding. But Asian Indians did have a very good understanding of it. So did many other ancient cultures of how this consciousness manifests, how it works through various manifestations, various people and animals. So a ritual that may seem very stupid to you may have a lot of meaning. You have to understand what is the meaning, what is the significance of what they are doing.
But we're saying it means something to the animal, which is important. For instance, I roam around in the woods, mainly in here at night. Mountain lions all over the place. They've stalked me. Rahu, I will look and see whether he impacts me. But I'm not concerned about
Look at Rahu and also look at
children of India.
Pardon me?
The children of India who are being devoured, or young youth of India who are being killed and devoured.
Right.
Can we look at it from the point of view of the collective consciousness of the cat?
I completely agree. There must be something you are doing some karma to some Rahus in the country.
Yes.
It could be tigers, it could be something else. You are doing some karma to them. And it could also be, it may not be something you are doing now. It may be something you did 2000 years back, which is coming back at you now.
Yeah.
It may be something in the chart of India. Maybe Rahu is a Marka and his Dasha is running right now. Or his period is running right now. So several such links are possible. And astrology provides some foundation. Some foundation so that you can study all these links, if you believe me. Okay? So with that I will end. Basically, there are some moral aspects of it, but also there are some more than moral and philosophical aspects. There are some aspects that are relevant in the study of astrology, so we can focus on those in astrology. This gives a way to connect the dots, so to say. So I will end.
I just want to mention that the poet Subramanya Bharati is a freedom fighter. He was attacked by militant in a temple. And he died there.
If you have his chart, we can see. Jupiter must be a Marka.
Las Vegas,
Three. Agreed, 6 side and inverse. 6 side. So with that we will end. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
నాకు అడుగుపదాలన్నీ డిఫరెంట్గా వస్తున్నాయండి ఈ క్లాసులో.
మీకా అండి? Maybe my option is wrong.
Audio.
I don't know that. Yeah, you have these checked in?
Yeah, I did.
And this Rahu and this is check these. You probably have a difference here.